Here's the camp I was talking about in the community post where I found that skillet. You can see the various people who in here. Yeah, I cleaned it up a lot. There was a lot of soda bottles and stuff. But it's been a while since somebody's been down here because of ant lions. All the little ant lion pits where nobody's walked. See, they hadn't been disturbed. That was my favorite thing when I was a kid. Putting ants in those. I used to catch them. They reminded me of on Return of the Jedi. There's a Zarlak pit. This here is the Jackson River. Till the river does get up high. I can see sand up here. Yeah, 'cause I remember back in the day, you could walk out there to that pillar. But other than a few soda pop bottles, it's really clean. Yeah, after the cops ran me off last night, this is where I came and laid for 2 hours. You can see where the grass is matted down. It's a little too steep, but I'll make it work if I gotta sleep another night. There hadn't been one westbound all day. No grain shuttles, no GM, no coal. There's a Y right up here too. Goes to Charlottesville. I think Amtrak takes that, and a few chem trains like going to chemical plants. I don't know what these are. I usually never liked camps under overpasses just because that traffic overhead, but that's pretty high up and it's not that traveled of a road, so it's not too bad. Yeah, I can tell no one's been down here for a while because the ant lions, no tracks. A second pair I found today. I can't wear sunglasses, just the way they make me feel tickles my forehead. I can't read what that says. A church organization or something. But yeah, I won't have no fire tonight, but tomorrow night will be a good night for a fire. I guess I could tell that story, the railroad bull and his trivia question. Yeah, that's the main line right up there past that felt. They lay that felt down under the ballast to keep oil and chemicals from getting down in the groundwater. I'll do a story on that later. See if I can't prop the camera up. Water. bottle. Let's see, you give this a try here. Bear with me. Well, this was the winter of 1998, I believe. I caught a freight train out of Meridian, Mississippi, and got right outside yard limits in New Orleans on the Norfolk Southern. And I got off the boxcar and I went to the overpass. It was quite cold that night for New Orleans. And next thing I know, I see a light. He's actually doing Morse Code SOS at me, and I couldn't figure it out. I thought, oh, it's one of them retarded bulls. So, he's like, let me see your hands. No. He put me in the back of his squad car, brought me to the Norfolk Southern yard office, still in handcuffs behind me. And he got on the phone with the police, the paddy wagon band, and trying to get an ETA of when they could come by and scoop me up to take me to jail. And they said at least 2 hours. So that bull said, I tell you what, Mr. Nichols, I'm going to ask you a trivia question, and if you get it right, I'll let you go. And I'm thinking, you gotta be kidding. So I said, make it railroad trivia. And he's like, no, I know you'll get that one. But he ended up thinking about 2 or 3 minutes, and he goes, what's that little yellow bird's name on the Peanuts? Snoopy's little yellow bird? God, I had no idea. But I think it was Woodstock was the answer. So the 2 cops finally came about 2 hours later, put me in the back of a police van with like 7 or 8 other guys they were just doing rounds, kind of like they do in Las Vegas when you get picked up to go to jail. And so we got right to the jail, right on the outside where the garage door, security door opens up to bring the prisoners in. And they opened the side door and said, Mr. Nichols, grab your stuff, get out. I got out, he slammed the door shut, and he goes, what's your address? And at the time, I gave him my uncle's address, which was in River Ridge off Airline Highway in New Orleans. He goes, here's what we're going to do. And while he was saying that, there was a fight between a girl prisoner and one of the guards in there. And so they were trying to break it up. And things were frantic. And I'm like, thank God I'm not going here. But what he did was he just wrote me out a ticket for trespassing, Orleans Parish. He goes, you just make sure you go to court. And I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Yeah, I'm going to court. You bet. So I had to find my way from the jail back out to Huey Long Bridge. Yeah, that's one of my favorite railroad trestles is the Huey P. Long Bridge. When Huey P. Long was governor of Louisiana back in, I think, 1950s maybe, or late 40s, he had them build a railroad bridge, and it was strictly just railroad. But Huey Long talked the DOT into building the automobile road across. So you got the railroad, 2 mainline railroads in the middle of the bridge, and you got a eastbound and a westbound lane on each side of the rail. And if you look at it on Google Maps, Huey Long Bridge is shaped like an S. You got Avondale Yard on the west side, and on the other side, 13 miles, you have Gentilly Yard. That's CSX. But back in the day, Avondale was that was UP, and CSX is Gentilly. and Gentilly is where the NOPB, the New Orleans Public Belt Railway Yard is. And I finally made it back there because you can catch there at the foot of that bridge. They're chugging up so slow. That kind of reminds me of another story. I got in an empty boxcar just to get out of the weather and go to sleep in that NOPB, that Public Belt New Orleans Railway. We hooked up during the night, probably midnight, 1 a.m., and we started moving down that old bolted rail. I didn't care where we went. We was doing maybe 8, 10 miles an hour, and I went back to sleep. I figured I was going to some industry or loading dock, and then I'd get out. But I woke up, and we were back in the yard, so I don't know why they hauled that empty boxcar all the way around and put it back in the yard. They may have did an accidental pickup. Speaking of accidental pickups, El Paso, this was like 2000 maybe, 1999. I caught out of El Paso going west towards Tucson. We get through Lordsburg and Deming and all that on junk train in a boxcar. We pulled off in the siding 40 miles east of Tucson, and the power on the head end came off, went back down the main, and came back and hooked to the end of the train, and then they took the EOT, the Freddy, and put it back where the head end was. And then back to El Paso we went with the entire train. I never did hear the story on it, but my only logical explanation is they picked up the wrong train off the wrong track in El Paso and didn't realize it until they was 40 miles out. But I didn't ride it back to El Paso. I know it's where it went, but I got off in Lordsburg. Lordsburg is where I found my little German Shepherd puppy in 1997. Best dog I ever had a little bobtail. Bubba was about 5-6 weeks old, barely weaned, and I was sitting waiting on a train, and I had just one can of tuna fish left. I ate it, threw the can off in the shrubs. 10 minutes later, I heard something ding-a-ling, shinking, something metal. I look over, and it's a little puppy, a German Shepherd puppy, licking that tuna fish can that I threw over there. So I went over there, and that little puppy came right up to me. I mean, instantly, we both fell in love with each other. And, of course, I didn't have no money for food, so I actually threw up some of that tuna fish to give him something to eat. And I had like $1.17 on me, and I went in and bought a daggum $1 scratch ticket and won $25. So I bought some dog food, and man, he would eat so fast that he would throw back up again, and he'd eat, throw up. So I had to keep him out of sight for a good 5 or 6 weeks until he got healthy, because I didn't want anyone thinking that it was my fault this dog was skin and bone. Oh, he was in bad shape. He probably wouldn't have lived another 2 or 3 days if I hadn't ran into him. And he grew maybe about 10 inches, 2 foot tall, but he was always kind of scrawny because he had such a starved life that first 6 weeks of his life. So that developmental stage when he was starving just messed him up for life. But I only had Bubba for 2 years. He ended up getting killed. He got hit by a car in Texarkana, Arkansas. And I always, if I dedicate myself back out here, I'm going to get another dog, and I hope it's a German Shepherd because they're so well behaved, very smart. But I could just go on all day with stories because one story reminds me of another one. But it's starting to get dark, and I kind of want to scout and police the area to see if there's anybody who's been around. evident. But yeah, I always follow the trails to make sure there's no camps, home bum camps, but there ain't no home bums where I'm at. Yeah, another thing I do when I roll out in an area like I did down here, I make sure there's no big rocks or sticks laying around me like this. I'll throw them off in the grass where they're hidden, just in case some wingnut idiot sneaks up on me during the night and uses one of them on me to bash me in the head. And sometimes, well, I can't really hear now, but I would take a little fishing string and tie off, run it across and hang aluminum beer cans. That way it was like a trip line and I could hear somebody if they were approaching. But actually, this is a really good area. I don't think the chiggers are out yet. But, oh, that's another story I could tell there. Holy. I got them so bad in Kansas City. And I ended up going to a detox for alcohol in Kansas City 2 days after I got them chiggers. So, itching from alcohol withdrawal and the chiggers. Oh, man. Well, I got my more train food. Got me a new Powerade bottle. Got some of these really good peanut butter chocolate crackers, and then the fudge covered graham crackers. And I got Bahama Mama, a couple of big fat Slim Jims. Yeah, that's what I love about a bucket. I learned that old school. Back when I started riding, all the old school guys carried buckets. And the kids watching my videos, they're starting to carry buckets now, and I'd like to bring that back. I really like that seat. It turns. Another thing I want to do, let me get my marker and show you. I want to bring back the old Hobo codes. Hang on, let me open this.